Hey, how's it going? My name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a very exciting video. In this video, we're going to be talking about all of the upcoming book to movie and book to TV adaptations. This is something different for me. I've never actually done a video like this on my channel before, but I've always wanted to do something like this, you know, because I am a really big lover of movies and TV shows, like almost just as passionately as I am about books. And so I get really excited when I find out about some of my favorite books that are becoming movies and TV shows soon. And I've had this idea for years for like a video series on my channel that I could do maybe like once a year, maybe twice a year, where I just talk all about the upcoming book to movie adaptations that are going to be coming out within the next year or so. And so if this is something you would like to see from me again in the future, maybe next year, then do let me know. So this video is going to be broken down into 3 sections, and I will have timestamps down below for the 3 different sections. In the first section, I'm going to be letting you know about movies that have recently come out this year, letting you know about some stuff that you might have missed, some book to screen adaptations that have already come out this year and that you can probably watch right now. Then the second section of this video is going to be talking about the book to screen adaptations that they either have a trailer, they have a full cast announcement, they have release dates, like they are going to be happening and happening soon. And then the third part of this video is going to be all of the book to screen adaptations that have been announced. There hasn't been a lot of like movement with these projects yet. Like maybe they have a director or maybe they've casted a lead actor, but there hasn't been like any more information yet. So yeah, without any further ado, let's just jump into it. So starting with the book to screen adaptations that have recently come out this year that you can actually watch right now. The first one I wanted to talk about is actually like one of my top favorite movies that I've seen this year, and it's Mickey 17, which is based off of the book that's called Mickey 7. And this is a sci-fi book that was actually a book that I really loved a couple years ago. And this movie is so freaking fantastic. I mean, I personally loved it. It stars Robert Pattinson as the lead in this film, and it's actually directed by Bong Joon-ho, which is the director of Parasite, which is like one of my top favorite movies of all time. And Mickey 17 is just so darkly funny. It's just so entertaining, and I highly recommend watching Mickey 17 if you can. I think it is available to stream on HBO Max, at least in the United States, I think it is. Another book to screen adaptation that has come out this year that you might be familiar with is The Summer I Turned Pretty, and the show is currently available to stream on Amazon Prime. And this show is based on the trilogy of books by Jenny Han. This is like a young adult, kind of like contemporary romance series about this girl who falls in love with these 2 brothers. The show is actually currently airing its final season right now. It's almost finished with the final 3rd season, so now would be the perfect time to watch it if you haven't yet. And I am like absolute trash for this show. I have an entire video dedicated to reading all 3 of these books and then comparing it to the show if you're interested, so I'll have that link down below. Another young adult thing that got adapted this year was We Were Liars, which is based off of this really popular young adult thriller book that came out in like, I want to say like 2014, like sometime in that era, and it just got adapted to be a show also on Amazon Prime. And this is one that came out in June this summer, so you can watch it now. There's also The Thursday Murder Club, which is currently a movie that you can stream on Netflix, and it's based off of the really popular book with the same name, The Thursday Murder Club. I mean, I personally wasn't the biggest fan of this book, so I don't think that I have any desire to watch this movie, but I thought I would let you know about it because it just came out in the month of August. There's also the book The Hunting Wives by May Cobb, just got adapted to be a Netflix TV series, and this show just came out in July. This is a show that like I did start watching because like I'm a really big fan of this book. Like this was a 5-star thriller for me, so I was very excited to see how they were going to adapt this into a TV show. And I got about 3 episodes into this show, but I personally just wasn't really vibing with it as much as I was loving the book, so I didn't continue on with the show. Also, earlier this year, one of my favorite books ever, Long Bright River by Liz Moore, got adapted into a TV show with Amanda Seyfried, and the show is on Peacock. It's a mini-series. Honestly, like the mini-series style of it totally reminds me of like Mare of Easttown, and I thought that this adaptation was so good. I feel like Amanda Seyfried was like perfectly cast in this role, and I just personally loved seeing this book come to life because this is like one of my all-time favorites. I've read this book twice. And then lastly, I know this one's kind of older, but I wanted to let you know that Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe has been adapted into a movie. And this actually happened in like 2022, but I wanted to mention it here because I feel like a lot of people don't even know that this movie came out. And I watched this movie with my mom earlier this year, and I thought that the movie was so freaking cute. The movie was giving major like Heartstopper vibes, and it's just so cute and it deserves more praise and love. Aristotle and Dante is like one of my favorite books of all time. I think I've reread this book like 3 or 4 times. It's like one of my top favorite like ultimate comfort books, and so I could not be more thrilled that the movie adaptation was like as good as it was. I loved this movie, and so I just highly recommend checking this one out if you can. I'm sure that I might be missing some, but those are the biggest ones that are like currently on my radar right now. All right, so now jumping into part 2 of this video. These are just gonna be the ones that are like currently in the works. The first one on this list is going to be Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. If you haven't yet seen, there is a trailer available to watch for this movie, and this is going to be a movie coming out in March 2026. And the movie is going to star Ryan Gosling as the lead in the film. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am for this. Like, this is probably my #1 most anticipated book to screen adaptation of all time. Not only because Project Hail Mary is like one of my favorite books, it was actually my #1 favorite book when I read it back in like 2021, but also because Ryan Gosling is one of my all-time favorite actors. And when I was reading this book, I was literally picturing Ryan Gosling as the lead. Like, it could not be more perfect. This is like a match made in heaven, like one of my dream scenarios here. So I am so freaking excited. I would also recommend though, if you have not yet read the book, maybe don't watch the entire movie trailer. Like, you can watch a little bit of it, but I feel like they start to give away a lot of the plot of this towards the end of the trailer. But either way, if you have not yet read the book yet, I would highly recommend reading this before the movie comes out in March, because the book is just so freaking good. Okay, next up, I wanted to let you know about a new show that's going to be coming out in October that's based off of the book It by Stephen King. We're getting another It adaptation, and it's called It Welcome to Derry. And this one is going to be a TV series that's going to be 7 episodes long. It's coming to HBO Max in October. It's going to start on October 26th. And the premise for this particular TV show says It will follow the events in the 1960s, the time leading up to the events for the first film in the Stephen King It series. So I think that this one's kind of a prequel to the movies that came out in 2017. I think the most exciting thing about this project is that Bill Skarsgård is going to be returning for Pennywise for this series. Like, oh my god, how exciting! I think Bill Skarsgård was such an incredible and creepy Pennywise, so I cannot wait to see him return for this role, and I just can't wait to watch the show. I think it's going to be the perfect thing for October. Alright, so the next thing that I'm excited to let you know about is that the book His and Hers by Alice Feeney is currently getting adapted to be a TV show on Netflix. And we do have a full casting announcement here. As you can see, these are going to be the 3 leads of the show. We have Tessa Thompson, and then I'm also so excited that Jon Bernthal is going to be in this show. Like, he's one of my top favorite actors. So I am really looking forward to this. And as far as I know, they're done with filming this, because I've been seeing the updates on Instagram. So I think that this one should be coming out either late 2025 or maybe like early 2026. I don't think there's been an official release date for this yet, but oh my gosh, I am so excited for this one. I actually really enjoyed this book too. I think I gave the book like 4 stars. Another one that I am so excited about is Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman is getting adapted into a movie that's going to be called Other Mommy. And this one is actually set to come out in May 2026. And we do have a lot of casting info for this because Jessica Chastain is set to star as the lead in this film, which, like, oh my god, I'm so excited. I love Jessica Chastain. And according to this Deadline article, it does say that Rob Savage is going to be the one to direct this film. I don't know if I'm actually familiar with his movies or not. But then also, there's been even more casting news for this that I'm very excited about, because if you do happen to watch The Summer I Turned Pretty, then you might be familiar with this actor Sean Kaufman. He actually plays Belly's brother in The Summer I Turned Pretty, and he just got cast to be in this film as well, which I don't know exactly like what role he's going to be playing, because I don't remember if like this young girl, I don't think she has like an older brother type of character, but maybe they're switching things up for the movie adaptation. I don't know. Either way, I am so excited to see this get adapted. I think this is going to be so freaking creepy. Oh my god. Because this whole book is about this like 7-year-old girl who starts to see other mommy who like lives in her closet, and it's just like very scary. It's going to be so creepy. I can't wait. Okay, and the next up we have another Colleen Hoover book that's getting adapted. It's called Regretting You. This one actually has like a trailer. It has a release date. It's coming out October 24th in theaters. And this one actually has a freaking huge cast as well. Like, wow. I mean, starring as the lead, you know, we have McKenna Grace, who is an actress that like I absolutely adore her. We also have Dave Franco as a part of this cast. We have Scott Eastwood, and it's also going to be directed by Josh Boone, and he is the director of like The Fault in Our Stars. And while we're on the subject of Colleen Hoover, you might as well know that Verity by Colleen Hoover is also currently in the works. It's going to be coming out next year. It actually has the release date for October 2nd, 2026. And this one, while we don't have a trailer yet or anything like that, we do know the full cast, and the cast is huge for this one because we have Anne Hathaway, who's going to be playing Verity. We also have Dakota Johnson, who's going to be playing Lowen. And then we have Josh Hartnett, who's going to be playing Jeremy. Like, what a freaking lineup for this cast. Oh my gosh, I actually can't wait for this. And even though I'm not the biggest like Dakota Johnson girl, I'm still excited to watch this movie. Like, I can't wait to see what they do with this. And then Colleen Hoover's book that's called Reminders of Him is another one that's going to be getting adapted soon. It's going to be adapted by Universal, and apparently it's going to be set to come out in February 2026. And the most exciting thing about the cast for Reminders of Him is that our lead actress is going to be Micah Monroe, which is like one of my favorite horror actresses, so like I can't believe she's gonna be in this adaptation of Reminders of Him. And then the other exciting casting news is that Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls is also gonna be cast in this movie. It says that she's going to play the mother of Kenna's boyfriend, Scotty. So like, how exciting. I also think it's really cool that we have a female director, Vanessa Caswell, and she also directed Netflix's adaptation of Love at First Sight. So like, that's really cool that she's gonna be directing. I mean, Colleen Hoover definitely has some exciting book to screen adaptations coming up, that's for sure. Another one that's gonna be coming up very soon is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware just got adapted by Netflix to be a movie, and this one's actually gonna be coming out October 10th. There's already a trailer online that you can watch for this, and Keira Knightley is going to play the lead in this film, which I also think is really cool. I mean, I was not the biggest fan of this book, but I am definitely gonna be checking out this movie because I can't wait to see how they adapt it. And I feel like I've been waiting forever for them to adapt a Ruth Ware book, so like I'm very excited to see this happen. One that's gonna be coming out on Christmas this year that I'm sure is going to excite so many people is that The Housemaid by Frida McFadden is going to be adapted for a movie that's going to be releasing on Christmas this year. In this cast, we have Sydney Sweeney, we have Amanda Seyfried, and we have Brandon Sklenner. He was the one that played Atlas in the It Ends With Us movie. So like, wow, what a freaking cast for this movie. Oh my gosh. I'm curious to see if this is going to be like the first of many Frida McFadden books to get adapted, because I feel like her books are just really popular right now. And I do think The Housemaid is like one of her better books if I had to pick. Like, she's not my favorite thriller author personally, but I do think The Housemaid is going to make for a very fun adaptation. And then jumping into more thrillers, we have The Whisper Man by Alex North. And this one is actually getting adapted into a movie as well. And like, this cast is actually crazy. So we have Michael Keaton that's going to be starring in this movie. We have Robert De Niro, and then we also have Adam Scott, and this is going to get picked up by Netflix. I actually wasn't the biggest fan of this thriller. I think it's one that I DNF'd like pretty early on because I just didn't love the writing in this one. I'm so excited to check out what this movie adaptation is going to be like. Like, wow, what a cast, what a lineup. And then another thriller that we can talk about is the book Count My Lies, which this is a recently published thriller. It just came out earlier this year. And this one has already been picked up by Hulu to be a limited series with both Lindsay Lohan and Shailene Woodley, which like, how exciting is that? I just love that actor combo right there, like Lindsay Lohan and Shailene Woodley. And I love the fact that Lindsay Lohan is like making a comeback to like thrillers, like okay. And I actually thought this thriller was so much fun. I gave it 4 stars and I really enjoyed it. And so I'm very excited to see how Hulu is going to adapt this into a series. I think it's going to be so fun. And then next up we have the book Remarkably Bright Creatures, which this one is like a very popular and very loved kind of like literary fiction, like very wholesome book. And this one is going to be adapted into a film with Sally Hawkins as the lead. And I think she's going to be so perfect in this role. And it's also going to be from the director Olivia Newman, who directed the Where the Crawdads Sing adaptation. So like, that's exciting. I'm very excited to see what they do with this project. Another one that I'm so excited about, like this might be one of my top most anticipated, because the book Deep Cuts is currently getting adapted. And this one's going to be a movie with Saoirse Ronan as well as Austin Butler as the 2 leads in this film. And I actually knew about this as I was reading the book because I was picturing Saoirse Ronan in my head as I was reading this, and then I was getting even more excited. I don't think you understand, you know, like Saoirse Ronan is like my girl, you know, like she's definitely one of my top favorite actresses. And so the fact that she's gonna be in this adaptation, oh my god, I'm screaming. Because this book is about these like 2 songwriters in the early 2000s, and it's kind of like this like messy romance, but it's not really about the romance between them. It's more about like her story and like her coming of age. And I just think Saoirse Ronan is absolutely going to crush this role. Like, I think she's going to be so good in it, and I can't wait to see it. And one of the best things about this adaptation news is that it was picked up by A24. And like, A24 has got to be like my #1 favorite movie production company. So like, I am so thrilled. Okay, and then next up we have kind of a classic book at this point. The Memory Police is currently being adapted into a film. I think one of the most exciting things about this adaptation of The Memory Police is that Charlie Kaufman is a writer who's going to be working on it. And he's also worked as a writer on some really incredible iconic films like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and he was also one of the writers for I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And then also we have Lily Gladstone, who has been cast as the lead in this role, and she is really well known because of her Oscar nomination for the movie Killers of the Flower Moon recently. I just love The Memory Police so much as a book. Like, this was such a 5-star great reading experience for me, so I cannot wait to see how they're gonna make this into a film. And the next up we have the horror book called Victorian Psycho that is going to be adapted into a movie. And this one does not have a release date, even though they have confirmed that it's probably going to be coming out in the year of 2026. But this cast, oh my god, once again, we have my girl, Micah Monroe, who's like one of my favorite horror actresses. I cannot wait to see her in this. We also have Jason Isaacs and Thomasin McKenzie. And I think Victorian Psycho is going to be such a fun thing to see get adapted, because I feel like this book is just so so unhinged. And I feel like while I was reading this book, I could totally imagine it being adapted into a movie. So, and then we also have this thriller book that's called The Shards, and this one is also currently getting adapted as well. This one is getting adapted by FX to be a series. As you can see here on the screen, we do have some casting announcements for these three guys here. And I haven't actually read this book yet, but all I do know is that the book is from the same author as American Psycho. Okay, and the next I wanted to jump into some romance books that are becoming movies soon. One of the ones I'm most excited about that you might have heard about by this point is that The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood is becoming a movie. So there is no current release date for this project, but we do know that the project is in pre-production right now, like they're about to start filming. And we do know the full cast for this movie as well. We have Lily Reinhart as the lead, who's going to be playing Olive, and then we have Tom Bateman, who's going to be playing Adam. I also love the fact that this movie is going to be directed by this female director named Claire Scanlon, and she's also the director from the movie Set It Up, which is like one of my favorite rom-com movies. I am so excited. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am that so many of my favorite like rom-com books are getting picked up to be rom-com films. I just really desperately want to see rom-coms become popular again. I feel like we really need it. And then we also have the book It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, which this book is a rom-com that I absolutely adored, and it's getting made into a movie with Nina Dobrev as the lead and then Tyler Hoechlin as her love interest. Oh my god, how exciting. For all of the Vampire Diaries girlies and then the Teen Wolf girlies, it's like so crazy to see these worlds collide because, you know, Nina Dobrev was like the lead of the Vampire Diaries and then Tyler Hoechlin was on Teen Wolf. So I'm really excited for this. I'm actually like struggling to even picture Nina Dobrev like in this role because I feel like this character, she reminds me a lot of like Alexis from Schitt's Creek. Like that's kind of the vibe that she gives. And then this guy is gonna be like a grumpy like fisherman type of guy. So like I totally see Tyler Hoechlin in this role. But like Nina Dobrev, like oh my god, I'm so excited to see her in this. And then also, if you're familiar with the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy, the first book in that series is The Deal, and it's like one of my favorite romance books that I've ever read. And this whole series is about a bunch of like hockey players in college. And this entire series is getting adapted into an Amazon Prime series, and it's going to be called the Off-Campus series. And it says each one of the seasons is going to follow a different couple from the books. So as you can see here from the Deadline article, we do have quite a big casting announcement. Like I think all of the couples have been cast already. I don't think I'm actually familiar with like any of these actors, but some of these names might be more familiar to you. And there are apparently 5 books in the Off-Campus series. So like I'm not totally sure if they've already confirmed that there will be 5 seasons, but I think their goal is that they're trying to do different couples for each season of the show. So like I am just so excited to see this happen because Hannah and Garrett from book 1, The Deal, they are like one of my favorite fictional couples ever. And like it's been so long since I've read this book, but it still left such a big impact on me. Like I really loved The Deal. Okay, and then another romance book that I am so excited about is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry is currently getting adapted into a film for Netflix, and it actually does have a release date. It's going to be coming out in January 2026. And while we don't have a trailer yet for this at the time that I'm filming, we do have some set photos and like some things that have been coming out. So we do have the full cast. As you can see, we have Emily Bader, who's going to be playing Poppy, and then we have Tom Blythe, who's going to be playing Alex. I'm actually not really familiar with either of them as actors, to be honest, but from the set photos that I've seen, like this looks like it's going to be so cute. And I'm so excited because I actually loved People We Meet on Vacation is like one of my favorite Emily Henry books. Like I gave this book 5 stars, and I'm actually thinking about maybe rereading it before the movie comes out in January. Oh my god, I'm just so excited. And speaking of Emily Henry, she does have a lot of her books that are currently in the works right now. This one is the only one that has like an official release date, and that's actually going to be coming out very soon. I mean, Beach Read was actually announced in 2023 that it was going to be getting adapted. Book Lovers was also announced that it was going to be getting adapted in 2023, but we just haven't seen anything happen since. And then they also announced that Happy Place is going to be made into a TV series by Netflix, and it says Jennifer Lopez and like her team is going to be producing. And then lastly, Funny Story is another one that is currently getting adapted, and apparently it says Emily Henry is going to be writing the screenplay herself for this adaptation. So like that's exciting. I feel like Funny Story is probably my most anticipated out of all of these, but then also Book Lovers, because like Book Lovers is like my #1 favorite Emily Henry book. So like very cool to know that like most of her adult romances are currently in the works right now, getting adaptations. Okay, and now jumping into part 3 of this video, these are going to be the books that have been announced, but there hasn't really been any movement on it. Like we don't have a lot of information about it yet. It's just that we know that it's coming eventually. I mean, one of the first ones that I am literally so excited about is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I mean, all we know is that it's going to be made into a film by Netflix, which I honestly think is a mistake. Like I really feel like instead of a film, they should make this into a TV series and have like each one of the episodes be like a different husband, you know what I mean? I just think this story is like so beautiful and so powerful. I think it would work a lot better for me as a TV series. but I think it's getting made into a movie. We don't really have any updates about it yet. I mean, as of August 2025, there is no casting announcements yet. I think for sure this woman is still set to direct it. Maggie Betts is set to direct. We'll see if we find out any news. Probably my #1 most anticipated book to screen adaptation of all time because of how much I love this book, and I am terrified. I am so scared. I don't trust anybody. So I'm excited, but also like terrified to see this get adapted. Another one that we know about, but we don't know anything about it, is that Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. It has been picked up by a bunch of these different production companies to be a TV show. And it does say that Jessica Knoll herself will pen the adaptation and serve as executive producer. So like that's very cool that she's going to be directly involved with this. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely love it. And I think it's going to be such a powerful TV show. I'm also very excited to see if we get any casting information. I mean, we haven't really had any updates about this since 2023. We also heard in 2024 that the book None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell is getting picked up for an adaptation, and this one's going to be on Netflix. So Netflix won the rights for this in 2024, and I am so excited because this is like one of my favorite thrillers. It's definitely one of my top favorites from Lisa Jewell, and I do think this would make for such a fun Netflix movie. So like I can't wait to see it. We haven't really heard any updates since 2024, so like we'll see. And then we have a new release from this year, Broken Country. This one just got picked up by Sony 3000 Pictures, and then also Hello Sunshine is set to produce, which is Reese Witherspoon's company, which makes sense, you know, because this was actually a Reese Witherspoon book club pick earlier this year. So like I know Reese usually like she'll love to buy like the adaptation rights to make some of her book club picks into like films or TV shows. So we don't know too much about this either, but it is currently in the works and it's happening, and I'm excited. I feel like Reese Witherspoon's production company always does a really good job of like turning the books into films. One of the ones I'm personally most excited about is the fact that The Eyes Are the Best Part is currently getting adapted into a film. And even though there's no casting information about this yet, I think the most exciting thing is that Greta Lee is set to direct this, and it's actually going to be her directorial debut. And she's the lead actress from Past Lives, which is like one of my favorite movies. And so like the fact that she's going to be directing this, like, oh my god, I'm so excited. I think that's going to be fantastic. And like this is one of my favorite horror books of last year, so like I can't wait to see this as a film. One of my other favorite horror books from last year is We Used to Live Here, and this one is also currently in the works. It's currently getting adapted into a film. You know what's wild though is that this project got announced in 2021 that this was going to be getting adapted into a film, even though this book didn't even publish until 2024. So like that's wild how that works. But apparently Blake Lively has been attached to play the lead. But again, like we haven't heard anything since 2021, so like I don't even know if like Blake Lively's still going to be attached to this project after all of the things that have been going on with her. But either way, I am so excited to see this get adapted because this is like one of my favorite horror books, and I think it's going to be such a creepy, weird book to see adapted. And then speaking of this author, he also has another book publishing next year in April called The Caretaker, and it's also already been announced that his other book, The Caretaker, is also going to be getting adapted into a film. We haven't heard any updates on this one in a while either, but we do know that Sydney Sweeney is actually going to be cast as the lead in this adaptation. So that's so crazy. It's so wild to me how this author always has like movie adaptation news months before the book even publishes. Another one that I am personally really looking forward to is that Big Swiss, one of my favorite weird books, is getting adapted. And apparently this one's going to be getting adapted into a series. It's going to be done by HBO from A24. So like A24 is involved with this, which like, oh my god, this is a dream. I've always wanted one of my favorite like weird books to get adapted by A24. So like this is actually incredible. And even more exciting is that Jodie Comer is going to be playing the character Big Swiss. And it's really cool because she's actually one of the lead actresses from Killing Eve. So very cool that she's already attached to this. Like I can't wait. Big Swiss is just such a weird book, and I think it's going to make for such a fascinating series. Another really popular book from last year is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, and this one, as well as her other book called The Unseen World, both of these have been picked up for series development. Apparently Sony Pictures Television is the one that's going to be picking up both of these. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of The God of the Woods. I ended up DNFing that one, but I do think it would make for a really interesting series. Like I would much rather watch it than read it. There's also the really popular romantasy book that's called Quicksilver that I have actually read and I really enjoyed myself. And this has been picked up by Netflix. We haven't really heard anything more about this since the end of 2024, but all we know is that Netflix has the rights for it. Another new release book is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. This one has been picked up by Hidden Pictures production company, and apparently it's going to be made into a film. I mean, even though this book was not my favorite by Alice Feeney, I'm definitely definitely curious to see what the movie's gonna be like. And then out of all of the Riley Sager books, all that I could find about adaptation news is that The House Across the Lake, this is the only one of his that has been picked up for adaptation, and Netflix actually got the rights for this. But you know, this deal happened back in 2023, and like we haven't really heard any updates on like what's happening with this. I mean, as you can see from this article, they do have a director in mind for this, but otherwise like we don't have any casting info, we don't have anything. So like we'll see what Netflix ends up doing with this. Even though this was not one of my favorite Riley Sager books, I do think that this is going to make for a really solid adaptation. I think out of all of the Riley Sager books that I've read, this one is the most easiest to imagine as an adaptation. Like I think they're going to do great stuff with this. Okay, and this last one that I need to tell you about, like this is some crazy shit because I didn't even know that this book was going to be a thing until like a few weeks ago. So there's this book coming out called What Remains, and it's going to be by Nicholas Sparks and M. Night Shyamalan. Like, what? What a crazy combination, you know, because Nicholas Sparks is like the author of like The Notebook and like Dear John and like some of the most iconic romances of all time. And then M. Night Shyamalan is like a director who's like the director of some of the most iconic films of all time, like The Sixth Sense. And they apparently joined forces to write this like supernatural romance story together, I guess. This book comes out in October, which like mind-blowing, right? Like I'm definitely gonna read this book, even though like I'm not the biggest fan of Nicholas Sparks. I mean, I used to read a lot of his stuff in high school, but like I haven't read Nicholas Sparks in like over a decade, but I'm definitely gonna be reading this one mostly because of the M. Night Shyamalan. Like what the heck, I need to know. Also, they just announced that this is going to get adapted and M. Night Shyamalan is going to be directing the adaptation, and Jake Gyllenhaal already got cast to play the lead in this. So like how crazy is that? I am just so excited, so curious. You know, Jake Gyllenhaal actually is like one of my favorite actors, but I do think it's been a few years since he's done anything that's been like really good. So I am very excited to check out this movie adaptation, and I actually do want to read this book soon because I think it sounds so bizarre. That's a duo that I never even imagined would ever collaborate. And yeah, I think those are all of the updates that I have for you for this video. So I would love to know a few things. First of all, which book to screen adaptation are you most looking forward to out of everything that I mentioned in this video? Secondly, if you have any other book to screen news that like I might not know about because I'm sure that I missed something, then I would love to know if you have anything else that you would like to share in the comments down below. I would also love to know if you'd like to see another video like this from me at some point in the future. I mean, this type of video is something that I've been wanting to do on my channel for like literally forever, like for so many years, and I just never took the time to like actually do it. I mean, this video required me to do so much research. Oh my god, you have no idea. So I hope that it was informative. I hope that you figured out some new things that you're excited about. I know I always try to seek out videos like this that are going to tell me like all of the things that are coming out, so I'm glad to provide this service. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will see you very soon with another video. Bye!